Welcome to Buddha's in Your Landfill, or Buddhism just plain and simple. And Buddha's in Your Landfill, you know what I'm really doing here is that I get up in the morning and I come down and write on Facebook and I putter around on writing this and that, and then I find a Buddha in the landfill and I got it, and then I come rushing in here, turn on the lights and get my board up, and I want to share the Buddha I just found in the landfill. That's what I'm doing. So the last couple of days I've been writing, yesterday morning and yesterday evening, I've been writing about the mystical body of Anthony Bourdain. Yesterday morning I talked about it. Yesterday evening at martini time I talked about the Eucharist with 1,000 faces. And this has been a rather important, quote, Buddha for me, or insight, because it's connecting the sacred and the profane. Now, you know, the big problem with the modern world is that it's called profane. It's godless. Where is God? Well, he's on Sunday over there in the church. You just go to Sunday school, go to church, and that's enough. That'll do it. So that's the rest of the world. Forget about God, unless you are a Muslim, and then you remember God during the day. So, but in the Christian West, God has been painted into, the sacred has been painted into a little teeny corner called church on Sunday, and it doesn't feel that sacred. I mean, let's go take communion. Now, the one thing that seems to unite Christian worship is the communion, the Eucharist, one form or another. And I'd go, when my mother was alive, she went to the local Presbyterian church, and they would have communion maybe once a month. The Catholic Church have it every day at Mass. But they would have it maybe once or twice on special, it would have it on Easter. And it was a very solemn affair. I mean, you lined up and you went down and you took the thing and you went back and you went back and sat down. And it was a very solemn affair. I didn't even use wine. It was grape juice. Now compare that to the communion that Anthony Bourdain shared. Now this is my connection. The master chef, the profane priest. Now, you have to think metaphorically here. You have to drop your fundamentalism. You have to drop your literalism and say, you can't, well, the chef is just a cook. He's not a priest. That food is just a dead pig. It's not the Eucharist. That food is it's just a meal. It's nothing sacred about it. But that's why the world is divided. That's why the world has no God in it. Because we have a fundamentalist mind that can't connect dots. They can't see the metaphor. They can't see the sacred and the profane. So let's take a look while we have these few minutes here. So you have the master chef. Now Bourdain went around the world finding the master chefs in every locality, and the master chef was one who was a master at using the local ingredients in a new way, in a delicious way, that's just right, a perfect blend of taste and smell and texture and visual. They present the meals like works of art. They don't present the meals like a lump of potatoes in one spot, and a lump of and a pork chop there, and some peas over there. It's not all compartmentalized. The food is integrated into a presentation of perfection in taste, sight, smell, texture, and environment. And there's plenty of wine. Now, why isn't that a communion? Why isn't that the Eucharist that is disguised? Just look at the master chef. This is my body, this is my blood. So the master chef, and you watch these chefs, they are doing it from their passion. They're doing it for love. Any cook does it from passion, for love, the joy of cooking. So what is the joy but sacred, you see? So we've kind of like taken joy and made it secular. Oh, the joy is in the eating and yada, yada, yada. But you go to church on Sunday, you don't see much joy there, unless in the singing. Some church, I'm just being very and I'm just talking about the local Presbyterian church. It's a solemn affair. It's a ritual. It's a social ritual, you see. But there's no creativity and joy there like you find at a meal presented by a master chef. So the formula here of death, basically it's grammar. It's grammar. You got the subject, you got the verb, you got the object. That's our grammar. You got a subject, he does something to an object. So you got the subject is the cook. He's got kills the pig right there. I mean, in the Bourdain things, I mean, he'll go out there and they'll bring the pig right there and kill it right there, and you watch the pig bleed, and then they chop it up and cook it. And eat the brains, everything. The whole pig, it's a sacrifice. When you have the cook, or when you have the priest presenting the host, the bread and the wine, which is transubstantiated, changed into the body of Christ. If the congregation doesn't eat all that bread or wafers, the priest eats it. There is nothing left over. You don't leave anything on your plate, says your mother. Eat everything on your plate. The sacrifice must be complete. No leftovers. No regrets. Nothing left to rot on your plate. Clean. Wipe that plate clean. No. So they eat the whole pig. Nothing's left over. Now you'd be amazed at how much different parts of the pig can be eaten that we don't do, except maybe in the South. But anyway, so he kills the sacrificial animal, the pig, mixes it, cooks it in the flame of in the fire of creation, the hot wok or whatever, the barbecue, and he serves it, he presents it to the communion, to the community. Subject, action, object, you see. This is the exact same formula of the Eucharist. There is the breaking of the bread, the fragmenting of life, the death of life, the breaking of the body of Jesus on the cross, the tomb, which is the transubstantiation, the darkness, the mystery, the verb, the hot wok, the fire, the furnace, the funeral pyre, and then the transubstantiated, fragmented death is turned into life and given to the people, and they are joyous. They feel satisfied. They're full. This has been a great meal. Life has been great. Life is a great meal. But it is death, life living on death, you see. And in our Western world, particularly in America, when all you see of food is what you find in Walmart, there is no death. You don't see any chickens running around there, and you say, oh, I want that chicken. And the butcher takes it and chops its head off and cooks it for you. No, unless you live on a farm. But in the urban life, you see, death is far removed. You don't even call it a pig. You call it pork chop. You see, so this whole idea, so death and life have been separated by the profane world, by the modern world. We don't want any. Oh, excuse me. Did you say bless me? I just wanted to digress, but never mind. So anyway, what I'm pointing to here is that the priest, the master chef, the master cook, is a sacred act. But we don't see it as sacred because we think, oh, well, the sacred's at church. You see. But what is the sacred? The sacred, if you go to a battlefield where people have died, you can feel the sacred. You can feel the presence. So sacred is a presence where opposites become one. Sacred is a presence that holds duality or opposites in one container, one place. So the sacred, you see, holds opposites. I don't even know. It holds opposites. Okay? The sacred is the one that holds the two, life and death. Those are the two ultimate opposites. Life and death, you see. So the sacred holds them together. So life is death, death is life. And this is the freedom from death. This is the resurrected Christ. This is the liberation from death, or in Buddhism, the cessation of suffering. So when you encounter the sacred, life and death are one. So in the ritual of the Master Chef, which is like a profane Eucharist, or a Eucharist in profane clothes, you see, life, death, and life are one in the killing and cooking and serving of the meal. So it's kind of like life as one is spread out in time. See, in the sacred, the death and the life are one thing. But in the profane material world where we live in time, it's spread out like taffy. Death here, life there. Takes time to cook a meal. Takes time to kill the pig, cook the meal, and serve it. It's spread out in time, you see. But the truth is that it's all compressed in the now. The now of Eckhart Tolle compresses it all into one. So it's all one, and yet when we experience it, it comes out as two. So the sacred is the one, the profane is the two. And in our rituals, we're able to create the sacred in the profane, but we can't see it because we believe the sacred is somewhere else. This world that I'm in right now, here in Blackstone, in this house, it's not sacred. Sacred's somewhere else. I don't know. Maybe in the cemetery. Maybe at the roadside cross. You see. So we've lost the sacred because we don't believe it's here. If you don't believe it's here, you're not going to see it. So Bourdain has been a Buddha in the landfill for me because it's helped me see that his little videos are really poems, they really make the sacred, they make the profane transparent to the sacred. Let's put it that way. So metaphor, the ability to see metaphor, life, is the means and is the way in which we can see to make the profane everyday life transparent to the sacred, or the oneness of life. For death and life are one, not two. This is why in the mythology, Shiva, the Hindu god, is creator and destroyer. In all the Eastern myths, God is a creator and destroyer. In the West, we separate it. Oh, God just creates. The devil destroys, or man destroys, but not God, because he's just good, you see. Right there, we've separated reality into two contradictory opposites of life and death. But the master chef and the priest put them back together. Thanks for dropping in.